Hello, Dr. David Montgomery here, Director of Serviam Leadership Academy. Today we're talking about defining leadership. What is leadership? What do leaders do? These are the essential questions when we take on leadership opportunities and leadership responsibilities. We're wondering, how do I do that? What is it and how do I do it? For me, it really comes down to really just two sort of categories that leaders have to be proficient in. One is their knowledge, and the second is the way that they communicate, so communication skills. So knowledge and communication. Sometimes we hear those terms discussed in ways like we talk about the hard skills, the technical information that people have, their knowledge base, and then their soft skills, the way they interrelate with people, the way they get people motivated, the way they provide feedback, the way they draw out the best in others, basically just the way they communicate. So we've got knowledge and communication. With knowledge, really important. Good leaders have to be knowledgeable about the subject area that they're working in. I think about in our area with band, it's going to be, can they be a good musician? What do they understand about music? Do they understand how to perform well and be a good player, rhythmic, accuracy, facility on their instrument, those kinds of things, conducting for musical skills. Those that are leaders in places like color guard or in drumline, it's going to be specific to those areas. Understanding the terminology, being able to demonstrate correctly and model those skills well. That knowledge base that we have as a leader is really important. Maybe you had a leader sometime in your life where you felt like they were good in every area, but I really just kind of couldn't trust them once in a while in what they told us, the information that they gave us. That's what we want to avoid. We want to have a leader that has a lot of knowledge and can share that knowledge freely and openly and accurately to everybody else. When we think about communication skills, I think this is the harder one. Knowledge, you can go to camps, you can read books, you can watch other videos, you can practice, you can build those skills, I think, pretty readily. But when it comes to communication, that's the tricky part. It's those people skills. The ability to be able to communicate well in a way that transmits the knowledge that you have, but doesn't turn people off along the way. Really kind of a complicated skill to be able to master, but a really important one. A lot of body language comes into that. People can read a lot of body language cues when we're talking to them, we're communicating. So you want to be able to look people in the eyes, being able to listen to them, expand your face and open up so that they get a good read on what you're trying to tell them and what they're trying to tell you. Communication, important. How do we communicate well? Are we able to lay down information that is sequential, that makes sense step by step? That's a part of communication. It's also a part of communication to be able to elicit the best from others. I think about that a lot in my own leadership. What am I doing and how am I saying things that not only gives the information, but elicits the best response? I think our personal example is a lot of that when we communicate, the way that we model what we're trying to do, that communicates a whole lot. It's another sort of nonverbal body language cue, is that just how we personify and exemplify the things that we're trying to do in our own group. Communicating well to others, providing feedback. Feedback is a huge part of communication. People are always wondering, how am I doing? Am I on track with things right now? Is it a little bit off? Am I working hard enough? Is this right? Is this the way it's supposed to be? Leaders always communicate. They always provide feedback. They always monitor. They're always motivating. These things are essential in any leadership capacity. Knowledge and communication. The other thing that I think leaders really have to do, and sort of a main reason to have a leader, is that at the end of the day, leaders have to decide. Somebody's got to be the decision maker and be the one that just says, this is what we're going to do next. I think most people kind of drift through their life in a way that they let somebody else decide for them, but we need people to provide that clarity and provide that direction, provide that sort of ability to forecast the future, provide a vision, and let us see where we're going. And it takes a lot of courage to be a leader in that way, to make the decisions. One of my favorite quotes is that leaders always decide. Sometimes they are correct, but always they decide. The leader has to have the courage to make a decision and accept the consequences as they come. A lot of times we're going to get it right. When we build our knowledge base, we learn the information we're supposed to do, we provide that good model, and we communicate well. A lot of times our decisions are going to be the right ones. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to make a decision, and it's up to the leader to have the courage and the knowledge to do that well and to get other people to sort of to not only just buy in, but to be able to get on board and to do what their part in the whole thing is supposed to be. The other thing I think about with leaders and what is leadership, what do leaders do, is that leaders inspire. I mean, this is kind of under the category of those soft skills, those communication skills. But the best leaders I've had in my life and the kind of leader I try to be is one who inspires others to do it well too. I think especially in a marching band, sometimes rehearsals are just not all that fun. One of my favorite things to think about, I have a friend who says that being in a marching band is really not all that fun unless you're in a good one. And I just think that's really true. And how do you become in a good one? Leaders have a responsibility to inspire others to work harder in practice, to be the example, to be the one that motivates, to be the one that sets the standard, sets the pace for how fast we're going to go today, how hard we're going to work, the kind of material we want to achieve and learn today. That's inspirational. Working hard, motivating others, giving feedback, encouraging others, and correcting others when that's necessary too. I think one of the things about people that are kind of high achievers, they are demotivated by other people who are allowed to coast. So part of the leader's role as a person who inspires others is to hold people accountable, to keep a consistent work ethic and production level across the whole group all the time, as much as we're able to. So leaders are trying to become proficient at defining their leadership in what they know, the skills that they have, what they can do, and then how they communicate. Always providing feedback, always trying to inspire others, and not being afraid to make those decisions. And then I think, what is leadership not? Okay, this is important too, maybe equally as important as defining what leadership is what it is not. Leadership is not telling people what to do. It's not being their boss. It's not just making people comply with what you say because you're the one in charge. I don't think any of us really looks up to and is motivated by someone who's just telling us what to do all the time and doesn't really seem to be invested in doing it with us or helping us to achieve it even better. So it's not being the boss. It's not telling people what to do. It's not building my own resume. That's not what leadership is at all. And then also leadership is not just being the best musician in the room or in the ensemble. It's not being the best marcher. Those things have a place and they're important. They're part of that sort of knowledge category that we have to build when we're talking about being a leader. But that can't be the only thing. There has to be a little bit more. That communication piece is really important in developing those leadership skills. So as you think about how you're going to become a better leader, I think if you focus on those two main areas especially, build your knowledge base, and then also learn how to be a better communicator. I think sometimes about what is your bedside manner as a leader. Are you able to communicate well so that people are not turned off by the way you say things or what you say, but you're able to encourage and inspire others to work hard too. All right, hope you enjoyed this talk today and work on those hard skills and those soft skills to be a better leader.